All right.
And we're live. Sarah testing out the holiday cheer flavor kombucha. Sarah.
Oh.
Tastes like I
don't know what it tastes like. It doesn't taste bad.
Well, I mean, I'll be honest, I'm not a
That
fan
was not
of
a
kombucha, but
it was not a disgusted O.
It's somewhat pine needly.
So it's not like pepperminty. It's more like a pine
No,
tree.
it's not peppermint at all. I don't think you could get away with peppermint with the kombucha undertone.
Pine nuts? Is that what?
Not pine nuts, pine
Like
needles.
So is it like drinking a fermented tree?
Fermented pine needles.
Well, there is a tea you can make with pine needles. I don't like it.
I really thought this was going to be super gross. It's not. It actually.
Wait, if you thought it was going to be super gross, why did you buy it?
That's a good.
I did it for the good of the show, you guys. I thought about you when I was buying it this morning.
Did this all for you, okay?
No, festive.
Happy Christmas.
Wouldn't get it again, but I don't hate it.
You know, the one thing I miss that I cannot find down here for the life of me is Fig Newmans.
What?
Like
What,
Fig
really?
Newman, no, they are in the Bay Area, so I thought they would be easy to find down here. They're really hard to find.
I'll buy you some. I mean,
Maybe
Not a Whole
they're
Foods?
checked Whole Foods, checked the Rouse, checked. The only place I found to believe it or not was Walmart.
That's weird.
I know.
You can order them on Amazon.
Yeah, but I was just like, I mean, you should be able just to go to a store and pull. They sell Newman O's, right? They sell the
But
Newman,
not Fig Newmans?
not the Fig Newmans. Maybe
That's a weird Valley thing.
Maybe.
You Valley people with your Fig Newman prejudices.
I love Fig Newmans.
They're so good.
They're so good. Like, why wouldn't you ever get them?
And I tried eating just like a regular Fig Newton, and it's like it's not the same. It's just not as tasty, and it's kind of processy tasting. I'm sure Nabisco hates me now. Big target on my.
I used to buy Fig Newmans, but I'd eat them in like a day, so I had to stop. I basically just keep things out of my house.
Me too. No more ice cream. No more. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That was the thing I had to be like, you can't have this in your house anymore. The other day, as I was replenishing my wheat thin stock, the corner store only had low sodium wheat thins.
Well,
that's not good.
That's healthy for you.
Not what I want.
So I've always wondered with low sodium foods, could you just like dip it in salt again and get it back to what it was supposed to like?
Yeah, I guess, but it's
just salt them with a salt shaker.
Then you kind of got to get them wet so the salt adheres, and it's a whole thing.
Yeah. What about soy sauce?
Ugh. On wheat thins?
I don't know. I mean, it has soy and soy byproducts and salt, I'm sure.
No, that's very, very bad.
All right. Ready, check.
Ready.
I'm What's that, Veronica?
Nobody hear me.
I can hear you.
I can now.
I'm cranking up your...
There's a gating effect on you today. Go ahead and say something.
What in the world?
Okay. Veronica, go ahead and say something. Oh, she's doing something else.
Oh, she can't even hear us.
I think she can't. She can hear us.
No, she just said
she can't hear
she's
us.
telling me in Slack she can't even hear us.
Oh, what in the heck? Ghost in the machine.
It was okay before.
Yeah, it was. Now I hear a sigh.
You can hear me. It's just like in and out, and apparently it keeps gating me somehow.
Well, what's happening is if one of us is talking, we don't hear you.
Yeah.
But if we give you space to talk, we hear you fine.
Well, okay. Kind of do that, right?
It's fine. You don't need me.
We do. You have no idea how much we do.
You've gone this far.
All right, fine. We'll just try it, I guess. Whatever.
All right. Here we go. Where's my lineup? There we go. 3, 2. Daily Tech News Show is powered by you. To find out more, head to dailytechnewsshow.com/support. This is the Daily Tech News for Monday, December 18th, 2017 from DTNS headquarters in Los Angeles. I'm Tom Merritt.
And from Studio Feline, where it's kind of chilly today, I'm Sarah Lane.
And I'm Veronica Belmont in sunny and warm San Francisco.
And in sunny and warm, not San Francisco, is Roger Chang, our producer.
Hello, everyone. It is both sunny and warm.
Veronica, how did San Francisco get sunny and warm? Oh, because it's winter.
Pretty much.
Pretty much. Let's start today's topics with a few tech things you should know.
Facebook has begun deprioritizing posts in the newsfeed, the kind of posts that ask users to like or share or comment in an attempt to gain the algorithm and get more views. Publishers or pages who continue to use this tactic could see all of their posts deprioritized. We are going to talk about this a little bit more in our main topic in just a few.
Reddit announces changes to its Android and iOS apps, including a beta test of user-to-user chat. What could possibly go wrong? There's also a theater mode for images and videos, live comments, and new mod functions, including a mobile version of the desktop mod queue. Business
Insider reports Apple's AirPods are running out of stock. In fact, if you order them from the Apple Store, you get a January ship date. There's a few other places where you might be able to get them by Christmas or at least by the end of December. But eBay sellers are even listing the $159 AirPods at $200 or more. Yeah. All right, let's get into some more top stories. Kick us off, Veronica.
Twitter has begun its new policies to combat unwelcome content on its platform. Images Twitter deems hateful will come with a warning in posts and are banned from use in profile photos. Twitter says it will shut down accounts affiliated with non-governmental groups that promote violence against civilians and ban usernames that constitute a violent threat or racial slur. It will remove posts that it thinks also celebrate violence.
So, I mean, it's Twitter's platform. They get to decide this sort of thing, and they're making steps to say, we want to keep this sort of content off the platform, and we're doing it starting today. The profile avatar in particular is a way to try to shut down what they considered a loophole, I think.
Well, I mean, the whole thing about profile photos is if you take steps to keep certain people blocked and certain types of content out of your app replies and all that stuff, it doesn't really solve the problem of profile photos, which are very front and center, no matter what kind of access you have to someone else's account. So, I get it. There do seem to be some exceptions with Twitter's new rules, which upsets everybody. But everything Twitter does upsets everybody these days.
Yeah, that's true. Plus, I don't have a ton of confidence in Twitter's ability to block stuff because I get stuff blocked all the time that's not offensive. They previously were trying to block sensitive content. I would constantly have the History Lovers Club blocked for reasons I could never fathom. I'd choose to okay, show me the sensitive content and, be a picture of two movie stars from the 1950s walking down the street. I wonder about the refinements of that. And then that also means okay, if you're showing me a World War II photo that legitimately has a historic Nazi flag in it, is this going to block that? Because that shouldn't be blocked. So I wonder just how fine-tuned these are going to be.
And I use Tweetbot, which is obviously a third-party app. It's not an official Twitter app. So I know my experience is, specific to Tweetbot and has been for a few years. But, I'll also block somebody. But if that person is in a Twitter canoe, meaning a sort of a group situation with me and a bunch of other people, that person will show up in my mentions. Like to the point where sometimes I'm like, ooh, what's going on here? And
No, I feel like they said either they had addressed or were going to address that very thing recently. Maybe it hasn't pushed out yet. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, again, using a third-party app. So my your mileage may vary.
It's true.
The government of France has filed a complaint with the Paris Commerce Court against Amazon for abusing its dominant market position with suppliers. The complaint asks for a fine of 10 million euros for Amazon's ability to change contract terms or suspend contracts unilaterally with more than 10,000 French companies.
Yeah, a couple themes playing out here. One is Amazon joining the list of tech companies in trouble with Europe. Or European countries for their practices and their dominant market position. Another is Amazon sort of following in a little bit of an older footstep. Roger, you mentioned the idea that they're a little bit like Walmart now, in that they control so much of the system that they sometimes turn people off.
Well, I mean, there are some parallels in the way that because when Walmart came on the scene, they could demand a certain level of service from suppliers. They could say, you know what, I'm not going to buy from you, and because we buy so much, we can demand this from you. If you can only make 10%, on whatever you sell instead of the normal 15 to 20%. Amazon is in the position to do the same thing because they are such a huge, overwhelming force that not to be able to sell on Amazon is detrimental for many suppliers, and so they'll just say, fine. We'll play your game. At least, we'll be able to sell. And if we don't make as much per unit per sale, we'll make it up in volume. And so, I mean, definitely France sees an issue with this because you unfairly, rightly or wrongly, push out competitors because you are just such a large force to be in the market space that you can demand those kinds of special perks.
Yeah. All right. Norway's Opera Software ASA has changed its name to Otello Corporation ASA. Now, this is going to get a little confusing, but Opera Software ASA was a different company than Opera Software AS. Opera Software AS makes the Opera browsers. That's the Opera software that was bought by Golden Brick Capital Private Equity Fund, which is a Chinese consortium of investors. So to sum up, Otello is now the name of the company that does not make the Opera browsers, and the only company now called Opera Software is the company that does make the Opera browsers, which ends up being a little more useful.
You're right, Tom. That was confusing.
Yeah. But hey, now we know when we say Opera, we mean the Opera browser people, right. Which that was not a true there for a while.
I must admit, when I hear Opera, I think of the Opera browser. That's the thing I think of. Washington University computer science grad Nathan Gitter has created a game for the iPhone X called Rainbow. Kind of unique because you control a smiley across a rainbow while dodging other emoji, but you do it by raising your eyebrows to move up or frowning to move down, or expressionless to stay exactly where you are. Rainbow promises to only use true depth data for gameplay purposes and not to collect your facial expressions for other things.
I believe we should say rainbrow because it's eyebrows.
Is that what it was the entire time? Rainbrow?
It's rainbrow.
I didn't even notice that. I thought it was just...
Yeah.
Got it. What about people who have gotten Botox and can't play?
Yeah. What are you going to do about them?
Exclusionary, doesn't it?
Well,
rainbrow.
I'm wondering about people. It is a very selective game. Certain people will not be able to play this. I know a long time ago I used to have an intern, and he suffered from a condition where you're devoid of hair. Would it work if you had no eyebrows? Like, would it be able to track your brow ridge? I
actually wonder though, because what it's really doing is tracking expression. So it's eyebrow raise for up, but a frown for down. And you may be able to do it without eyebrows. Should I shave my eyebrows to test this?
I've been wondering that. Like, would someone want to try that? No.
Well, I mean, I get it because it's like you can raise your eyebrows, but you can't really lower them. You kind of do have to like it's. I was playing it. Eyebrows, the frown.
There was a couple times I made it go up just by kind of smiling, which probably raised my eyebrows without me realizing it. But you didn't have to like, really do the like, whoa, surprised expression. I could not, and I only played it for a couple minutes, but I could not get it fine tuned. Like I would do one eyebrow raise and the thing would shoot up like 3 spaces. Like you really got to start to fine tune. And it's weird to control with your expression because you're used to making expressions in reaction to a game. So you have to like really become neutral as you're playing. You can't get excited.
Well, and I mean, I have not played Rainbow, so, full disclosure there. And it probably, just like a lot of Snapchat filters, depending on like the color of your hair and, what it can detect, it won't necessarily work exactly the same way for everybody, and maybe not so well for certain people who have light eyebrows or no eyebrows or whatever. But after the novelty wears off, I mean, are we wanting to do facial exercises to play games like for a extended period of time? That sounds like a recipe for a headache to
Maybe
me.
this is good Botox recovery. Like it could be a therapy.
Perhaps.
Or
Like,
maybe something you
that
don't do
feeling
right
about-
after you get Botox because you don't want to mess things up.
I don't think why would it mess things up?
I don't know. I mean, why would you put Botox in your face in the first
start,
place?
exercising those muscles, getting them back to normal.
Maybe you could tone and tighten your facial skin so you can look youthful without having to resort to Botox.
Rain
Roger,
brow.
I would argue that a lot of people think Botox does just that.
That's pretty much what Botox is supposed to do. Yeah.
No, this is all natural. You're not
Right. Without Botox. I get what you're saying. Like
I'm
rain
gonna get a
brow,
real housewife on the horn.
a natural way to tighten your skin. Rain brow. All right. Let's finish up with Volkswagen announcing Monday it plans to install 2,800 electric vehicle charging stations in 17 cities by June 2019. 75% of the stations will be installed at workplaces. The rest at multi-unit dwellings, mostly like apartment complexes and stuff. But it's interesting because we're now seeing multiple companies, not just Tesla anymore, talking about putting in their own charging stations to boost demand for electric vehicles, as all these auto manufacturers are saying that they want to increase the number of electric vehicles they're manufacturing and selling. Roger, you were talking about this before the show.
You were the one who brought this to my attention, or our attention.
Oh no, I mean it's interesting because is this how car companies that want to sell EVs get a decent market share by basically building a light infrastructure to enable people to buy their products and use them in a convenient fashion? I mean, it would be like starting out at the time of the automobile and building your own service stations, so people would always say, well, where am I going to fill up with gasoline, right? I can't go down to the barn, and always fill up on the kerosene I need. It'd be great if you had a store that sold it. And so they might be doing that. And I'm curious to know if this is something that will have to happen for widespread EV adoption, right? Sorry, I didn't.
I've gotten really used to seeing charging stations in, certainly not every workplace garage, but larger companies, certainly like municipal parking garages, and they're always full. Everybody's always using them. It's become something that you expect to be like, well, maybe there's like a EV parking space that I can use, where you're real front and center, right? So there are lots of perks to it, but as long as it's not somehow limited to people who are driving Volkswagen vehicles.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, do they make a special plug that only plugs into Volkswagens, right? And that kind of this starts kind of snowballing into a slippery slope of, are you going to try to vertically integrate not just your automobile but also the power distribution?
But is that what they're doing?
Well, no. But I mean, it could very well.
Okay, then.
Well, no. But I mean,
it's a special plug. That's a whole different thing. We don't know that would happen.
No. But it's definitely it was one of those things that has been a concern, and everyone was like, well, why don't you guys just pick a standard to follow?
Well, but this is the way standards always go. You always have several different companies start out wanting to be the one who has the standard, because then you win the licensing game, right? So it's going to take a while for this all to shake out, if that's the case. I don't know that that's the case. You're just speculating that. I don't know that these won't interoperate.
No, so
it's a little bit irresponsible to speculate on that right
now. No, it's definitely, you're right. It's definitely not something that is cemented, but it is a concern. And if they do make it widely available, if you can charge a Volkswagen off the Tesla supercharger and vice versa, that would be great.
Yeah,
but I have yet to see that happen. So
and other things happen. Well, we haven't seen any of these things happen, so we can't say they won't either. But I hope it's the way it goes. Folks, if you want to get all the tech headlines each day in about 5 minutes, be sure to subscribe to dailytechheadlines.com. You can get it on your Amazon Echo as a flash briefing. You can get it on the Google Home. You can get it in the Anchor app, and you can get it as a podcast in your favorite podcast reader at dailytechheadlines.com. All right, Sarah, kick us off. What's going on with this Facebook stuff?
All right. Well, we mentioned it at the top of the show, but we wanted to kind of discuss it in a little bit more depth, what it means for Facebook to be deprioritizing posts in the newsfeed that Facebook deems spammy, kind of clickbaity. Like if you agree, if you're a dog person, like it. If you're a cat person, share it. That sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So starting Monday, it's going to roll out in a couple of rollouts here. Starting Monday, post that Facebook says is engagement bait will be pushed down in the newsfeed. We don't exactly know what that means, but it means that Facebook is like, you're just going to see less of this in a perfect world, right? Now, in a few weeks, publishers and pages, so a lot of times that's, a public figure or a business, will also have their posts deprioritize if they keep utilizing this tactic, and their reach will be diminished for all of their posts. Now, a lot of people have built up, pretty good Facebook presences on pages. So that if your main reason for using Facebook is to promote yourself, you definitely want to make sure that you understand the repercussions of this change. Facebook changes its algorithm all the time. So we're all aware of this, especially as media entities over the years. Everyone's kind of like, well, you kind of got to go where the people are. But chasing the Facebook algorithm has been no one really knows what's going on besides
the new Google SEO.
And half the
right?
time, they don't really seem to know what's going on either.
Yeah, it's a black box.
Recently as last week, actually, Facebook announced an algorithm tweak that was supposed to show users more video. Maybe you like that, maybe you don't, but that's a tweak that Facebook is well within the rights of doing. In the past, it's cracked down on other types of what it considers spammy posts, clickbait, links that send users to websites that are full of ads, or links that go somewhere that's not exactly what people thought that they were going to. Now, the company says, hold on. If you're, if you're the kind of person who's using Facebook normally, you're being a good citizen, every once in a while, maybe you have something that you're really excited about, new project, you want to share it. Like, that's not necessarily just going to be deprioritized in a post. Facebook understands that there's something that it calls authentic engagement, where somebody might actually have something to share, and that's okay. But then the other stuff. Now, again, you kind of have to just trust that when Facebook says our algorithm is smart enough to know the difference, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
But there are all sorts of weird ways that people have tried to game Facebook over the years. The most recent one, and I'm sure you guys have seen this too, is there's this whole wives' tale, and maybe it's true, that if you say congratulations in a post, then it'll get up top because Facebook thinks like, oh, somebody had a baby or somebody got married or something like that because it's
right.
I mean, I don't know.
Okay, so I want Facebook. Well, first of all, I don't really read Facebook much, but as a Facebook user, I'm going to pretend that I want Facebook to cut down on the spam. I don't like the companies that are like our page. We don't care if you really like it, just please like it, because that'll get us up to the top. Like, that's against the way it's supposed to work. The way it's supposed to work is people legitimately click on the like button because they like something, and then the stuff that more people like actually rises to the top. So when you get campaigns for it, it throws the system out of whack. So I like cutting back on the people who are purely just like, all we're doing is spiking the results, right? At the same time, what if I accidentally run across that by doing something unintentional, like a congratulations. Maybe I don't know about the whole congratulations things, and maybe Facebook is now deprioritizing people for misusing congratulations, and I'm just being sarcastic in a post, and suddenly I get deprioritized. I mean, I guess if I'm not really trying to get to the top of the news feed, it doesn't really matter, but it could cause people to wonder why no one is reacting to their posts. Like, hey, you know, I'm just a regular person. I posted something. It's like nobody saw it, and it's because it ran afoul of the algorithm.
It seems to me that Facebook is just saying, listen, all of the reasons that certain clickbait headlines have really, made everybody like, oh gosh, the worst, this particular media entity is the worst because they do things this way. We also want to not encourage people to use Facebook that way. And Facebook, it's not as if this isn't a problem. It definitely is. And I see a lot of stuff where I'm just like, it's such garbage, like even the kind of like chain letter stuff that keeps coming around on Facebook over the years.
I hate those.
If you're really my friend, you'll send this to 7 more people, that kind of thing.
Thankfully, we're not friends, so I'm not sending.
I almost unfriend people if I see that. If it's somebody I really don't know, and I'm like, why am I getting this?
But it's usually like it's a family member.
Yeah, it's an older family member often.
That's
all the older people do it. But, yeah.
I think part of this is that Facebook is coming against the coming against the fact that people will try to game anything, any kind of system. People will try to see, take advantage, and it's one of those things that you can build an algorithm, but ultimately you're going to need a human arbiter to kind of judge these things because, as we saw Facebook's last attempt at putting in an algorithm to automate everything, it doesn't always work very well.
What about the workarounds? So I know some companies do this, and they're not trying to game the system. They do polls where they have like a live result going on, and basically they say, press the happy face to vote for this, press the like button to vote for that, and they can sort of run an automated poll. Now, granted, Facebook has their own polling systems. Maybe you should just use that, but if you don't like that polling system and you've done this workaround, that's kind of cool. It could be gaming the system, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's meant to. And this kind of thing will cut down on that. And it's one of those things I don't like about a closed system like Facebook, I guess.
There are also, I understand that Facebook is, it has best engineers in the world. Algorithm in many cases works well. But I just don't really trust something so encompassing to really know the sort of stuff that I want to see and don't want to see. I understand what clickbait is. I understand what kind of spammy stuff is. But yeah, like you were mentioning, I think a couple minutes ago, Roger, it's like there might be a family member who does a lot of that stuff. And like, I don't really want my uncle to be, deprioritizing my news feed because I kind of know that he doesn't know any better. And it's like, where is that? Facebook doesn't know that about me. Facebook doesn't know that some people might, be much more off-putting with these sorts of posts than others.
Yeah. And maybe it's just a lack of faith in the algorithms, but having seen the kinds of targeted advertising I get that are way off the mark, and knowing that Facebook is a closed system that isn't really taking cues from anything outside of Facebook other than advertising.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of confidence in that. All right. Thanks to everybody who participates in our subreddit. You can submit stories and vote on them at dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com and on our Facebook group. We don't care if you like it or not. We're totally going to play by the rules. Facebook.com/groups/dailytechnewsshow. It's all up to you.
Just make sure you like and share.
Just be honest about it if you like and share it.
Let's move on now to the thing of the day. Let's check in with Nate Langston for text message.
Thanks, guys. This week, we were joined by a mutual podcast friend, Mr. Patrick Beja, who came on the program to tell us more about how France is imposing a ban on cell phones in schools. He helps us understand why, and we talk a bit about how it could be implemented in other countries. Plus, with the brilliant, totally not even slightly devastating and terrifying news about US net neutrality, we compare how such a decision could play out in Britain in the future, where our broadband market is fiercely competitive with almost too many players. That's all available now on episode 117 at techpodcast.uk.
Thank you, Nate. Too many ISPs. What's that like? Sounds like a dreamland. All right, let's check the mailbag, Sarah.
Our friend Dan Campos says, Saludos. DTNS team. On December the 13th, Uber made some changes to their terms of service that affect everywhere they offer services except the US and China. Now, okay, so I'm already interested, right? Because I'm in the US. He says, main points. Uber is not responsible for guarantee of full safety of their passengers. Also in the new terms of service, Uber is not responsible for the risks of using online platforms. Number 3, Uber establishes itself as a technology enterprise, not a transportation service. And finally, Uber is not responsible for any kind of damage caused by accidents or theft during the ride. Dan says, okay, points 2 and 3, not too surprising, but the rest pretty much work against the safety of the user. There are other new terms like Facebook account verification in case the user wants to pay in cash, or be more transparent about the cost of cleaning or recovering missing objects left behind, but they don't affect the user as much as these. I can understand that they want to determine their responsibilities, but to the general public, this sounds more like they're refusing any liability. Now, Dan says Cabify is their biggest competitor they have in our country, that's Mexico. And after this, I believe that Didi Xuxing has a good chance when they finally offer their service here. However, I don't believe the terms of their service would be much different to Uber's unless they actually offer some sort of passenger insurance policy. And then Dan says, how would my American friends react if these changes were applied on their territory?
Well, I'm reading from the Uber terms of service right now for the United States, and it says use of the services will, the services are provided as is and as available. The Uber does not guarantee the quality, suitability, safety, or ability of third-party providers. You agree that the entire risk arising out of your use of the services and any service or good requested in connection therewith remains solely with you to the maximum extent permitted under applicable law. So I'm not sure what they changed from what to what, but this is actually the way Uber pretty much has always run. They basically have tried to say, we're not a transportation service. We're a technology company. We hook you up with drivers, and the drivers are the responsibility of the drivers and you. We're not responsible for that. They've always tried to distance themselves. So I don't think this is specific to Mexico or anywhere else. I think it's probably just Uber revising its non-US services for other things, and maybe these terms weren't in there before for international use for some reason, and now they're actually reconciling them with the way the U.S. terms work.
Although I understand why Uber wants to distance itself from being a transportation service, I do find that that's a tough one to swallow. Yes, they're an internet company. Yes, they provide a service that connects me with a driver, and then I get where I want to go. But those drivers are paid by Uber. Those drivers have insurance that's covered by Uber to some extent. Those drivers are not unionized outside of Uber. So sure, you're an internet company, but you're also a transportation service.
Yeah, I am sympathetic to Uber's underlying argument, which is we should be able to set up a service that just connects independent drivers with riders, right? Without having to be the driving company. And that makes sense to me. That's not how Uber works, though. And I think that's kind of a couple of the things you're pointing out, is that Uber takes more of a hand in this than they would like to admit that they do sometimes. But hey, we asked Dan to keep us up to date on how things are going in his market. So appreciate that, Dan. Keep the emails coming. feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. Now, you may have noticed Veronica Belmont dropped out of the conversation. She was just having some technical difficulties that we couldn't get past. So unfortunately, we had her at the very beginning of the show, and the bandwidth just got worse. You know, Sarah, there's a Salon article that somebody put in our Discord. I'm sorry, Slate article, that the internet is really slow right now in parts of the country. There's just like a weird slowdown going on. So we'll keep an eye on that if we find out any explanation.
I have not had problems with Google Hangouts specifically over the last week, knock on wood, but I have had major problems with Google Docs and Gmail. And that's been going on for a solid week now, where I have to restart Chrome basically every time I want to refresh my Gmail, which is
I have that happen on I have that happen on one of my machines with Gmail, not with Docs. So I feel like that's a Google Apps problem. But what I was looking at was Slate says that there's just kind of widespread discussion of a slowdown. And so Slate reached out to Level 3 and Cogent to ask if they determined the cause of the disruptions, because there's Comcast disruptions out there in multiple markets, including San Francisco.
Well, I have no idea if this is at all related, but since we've got our conspiracy theories. Yesterday, I did notice that my router was all out of whack, and I had to reset up the whole thing, the 5 gigahertz versus 2.5. It was like I don't know what happened. Wasn't the hardest thing in the world, but took an hour out of my day. So something's a mess.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, this isn't even a conspiracy theory. If you just look at the Comcast outage map earlier today, anyway.
Well, because I don't use Comcast, I'm making it a conspiracy theory.
Yeah, it's not you.
Maybe it's a Time Warner problem too.
But maybe that explains some of Veronica's problem.
Well, Veronica, we miss you.
Is what I'm trying to get at. Yeah,
next time is going to be the best show ever.
And thanks to another Mary for posting that article in our Discord as well. Hey, if you want to be in the Discord, you can do so lots of different ways. The easiest would be to sign up for Patreon. It'll just show up in your servers then, patreon.com/DTNS. And there's still time to check out the DTNS store if you want a hoodie or a mug. We got them in there at dailytechnewsshow.com/store. Go check it out. Do it now.
And if you want to get a hold of us, you have options, but we love email. Our email address is feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. We're also live Monday through Friday. If you'd like to follow along, you can watch or listen 4:30 p.m. Eastern, 21:30 UTC at alphageekradio.com and diamondclub.tv. And our website for everything and more is dailytechnewsshow.com.
We will be back tomorrow with Patrick Vasia, the aforementioned Patrick Vasia. Talk to you then.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Get more at frogpants.com.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
I don't know why I made a cat sound. It was a good show.
Yeah.
It's too bad Veronica disappeared, though.
I know.
Yeah, it was very unexpected. It must be Comcast or something.
Well, I guess I was doing a bad job of explaining that, but I was trying to say is like there are actual outages going on. One of them is in San Francisco. Comcast is part of it. Slate is reaching out to Cogent and Level 3 to find out if there's more to it than just Comcast. So she may have been caught up in that.
Well, it's just so frustrating.
Yeah, it's always real.
No, I mean, if it were me, it's frustrating when you're the person who's like, I don't know what's wrong. I'm trying to connect.
Yeah. And she's trying. She couldn't hear us.
She could or could not.
She could not. She stopped being able to hear us.
Like,
so she was fine when she first logged on. We tried a couple things. Then she was having a hard time talking with being heard. And you heard that a little in her first headline where it was, a little crackly.
Yeah, I was missing a syllable here and there.
Yeah.
It wasn't like horrible, but
after that, she stopped being able to hear us. So she in our Slack, she was just like, I can't even hear you guys. So she had to drop out.
Sucks.
Yeah. But anyway, it may not have been anything she could have done anything about, was kind of my point.
I have confidence that the next time everything will be fine.
We need a new generation of internet connection technology.
Or it could just be a random outage.
For that.
Titles. We have Twiggered, I guess Triggered and Twitter put together. Ghost in the Machine. Tom, that was confusing. Rainbrow.
Opera.
Do we need eyebrows? Highbrow, lowbrow issues. Not for the Botox. Twitter trigger. iPhone X's new eyebrow raising game.
TextJeb says there's a major fiber cut in South Carolina that he knows about, but nothing else on the boards. He works in the industry, we should say. So he's keeping an eye on that. Go ahead, Roger.
Veronica, she just showed us her internet speeds, and it's like really good.
So it wasn't that for her, huh?
Mm-mm.
Maybe it was just.
Wow. She got some good upload.
No kidding.
No slowdown is what you're gonna say, right?
No shoes for me
It might
Nope.
be DTNS.
when you got internet speeds that quick. Well,
And We Lost Veronica's at the top, followed by Twiggered.
let's not call it We Lost Veronica.
Oh no, I don't want to call the show that.
Should I shave my eyebrows? I found a new eyebrow razor.
Should I shave my eyebrows? It's pretty funny.
That's kind of funny.
Undo that.
I mean,
Sure.
it's
Don't,
I mean, you
other
say
people
that. It's a thing you said.
It is the thing I said, and none of you answered.
Well, I was sort of like,
So I assume that meant no. You shouldn't
like,
do that
for the
Tom.
game. No, don't do that. You want to, like, sure.
No, just for the experiment of whether will this affect things.
I hear that. I know. I'm sure it's an urban legend, but your eyebrows don't grow back if you shave them, or they do.
No, that's complete. Like, that makes no. That would be like saying if you shave your legs, you don't have to keep shaving your legs.
No,
but I
if you
don't
shave your eyebrows, you're sinful. No, if you're sinful, your eyebrows don't go back. Wait,
If you
no.
pluck your eyebrows over time, there
Is
is
that where
and it again probably varies person to person, but a lot of people find that they just don't grow back bushy again if for any reason you want them to. But shaving, it's like that's all surface stuff. Wouldn't matter.
But don't people pluck their eyebrows so they won't grow back bushy? So that makes sense.
But think about like trends over time, super thin eyebrows from, 1996.
Okay, yeah. No, I was thinking
you
when
want
you
to
said
have the option to have your eyebrows grow back.
You're thinking width. When you said bushy, I was thinking depth. Like, growing straight out of your face, being all.
Well, and that I'm sure for some people is also
that
a
could
trend.
come back someday or come at all.
You want some 3D eyebrows.
That's what I fight. My eyebrows want to grow out like antenna. Just keep going straight out.
My eyebrows are not. Luckily, they're dark, so they're okay. But they're not very. I don't do anything to these. This is just the way that they are. But they do sometimes get long.
Your eyebrows woke up like that.
They did, yeah. Like the shape is fine, but sometimes, from the side, I'm like, wow, that's a very long eyebrow.
No eyebrow filter.
Right.
No, that's cool. Yeah, I actually, I mean, I don't want to sound like I'm obsessed with my eyebrows, but I will clip them every once in a while because they get crazy. Yeah, I've got crazy man eyebrows.
That's part of the manscaping process.
It's not unlike trimming a beard.
Yes. No. For how it. Here, hold on.
Decide what you want it to be, and then you do it.
If I didn't take action, this is exactly what my eyebrows would look like right here. Super Howitt from Dune.
Oh, that's funny.
Is that just because they take the spice? I'm just trying to remember
He was a mentat, though. I don't think he was a spice taker.
But mentats are humans that have ingested the spice in order to.
No, I thought that was navigators ingested the spice, not the mentat.
They all abuse it. That's the whole thing. It's like
everybody's on spice these days. We got a spice problem in this country,
right? Doesn't he take the juice to kind of crank out their thought abilities? Or
I don't remember now.
Right? Isn't that the whole point of the mentat? They're humans because they didn't trust machines anymore.
Yeah, it was a replacement. Yeah, I thought it was just training, though.
The spice, right? I mean, that's how
I didn't think it was
how Hollywood works. A lot of spice.
No, I didn't think it was I thought only the navigators were spice enhanced, and like anybody else who took spice was just a drug addict. Okay.
Well, Atreides, he was a leader and man god.
He hoarded the spice melange. Leo Atreides II did.
What about Dune Cat? Controls the spice.
right?
Still something
Don't
I put
forget
in
Dune
my
Cat.
times. I really, Dune Cat is still very, very good.
I'll ask my friend. She's super Dune fanatic.
Yeah, I couldn't. I went to the Dune Wiki just now, and it doesn't say anything about them using the spice, but it also doesn't say anything about them not. So, okay, wait a minute. Another J Mary in our
Chat.
Discord says a Mentat's capabilities can be greatly increased by taking sappho juice, but using it leads to addiction. Sappho is extracted from roots found on Ikaz, and its use doubles or even triples the Mentat's already immense processing power. Repeated use leaves a permanent cranberry-colored stain on the user's lips. So that's what you were thinking of, I think. That makes sense. Thank you. Look at that. Discord coming through.
Woohoo!
You guys got to get in the Discord. It's the new hotness. Where all the Spice Kids live.
All the spice. That movie will make I'm sure they're gonna remake it for
Yeah, there's an effort to make another shot at it.
I like the was it Norwegian or the Danish, like the sci-fi version for the Sci-Fi Network? It was pretty good.
Oh, I don't think that's correct. It was a BBC sci-fi cooperation. Maybe it was Scandinavian. Look it up real quick.
The internet. All right. Sci-fi Dune. The miniseries in 2000. Let's see. It's 3-part. Blah blah blah. William Hurt. OD.
I like that one. That one, they went into Children of Dune.
Yeah. Company credits: Milk and Honey Pictures, New Amsterdam Entertainment.
That's New York.
Man.
Well,
Blix film
I-
production.
as I continue to drink my holiday cheers kombucha,
Spice.
a festive probiotic tea.
Mm-hmm. Filled with spice.
I don't know. It's kind of growing on me.
Is
But
it sappho juice?
I just don't know what I'm tasting that is like seasonal. Really.
It does sound like they put pine needle juice in it or something. Pine needle extract.
That was my first oh, it's piney.
What is
Maybe
the
there's-
ingredients? Does it say on the ingredients?
I don't really know.
On the label? What does it say?
It says, oh God, I have to.
This is how you know I'm the son of a food scientist, because
I have to.
I immediately go to the label.
I go to the label. I got my glasses, and I have to hold it really far away because that's what it feels like in my world. Water, kombucha, black tea, green tea, evaporated cane juice. Organic ginger juice, vanilla powder, organic cacao powder, and organic allspice powder. So really,
it's probably the ginger and the allspice that are making that piney.
it's the allspice. Yeah, exactly. And maybe a little vanilla.
Well, the ginger will give a kind of a tang to the side that's kind of.
Although a lot of kombucha has ginger in it already because it sort of works with that acidic kind of fermented thing.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's fine. It's fine. I thought it was going to be a little bit more dramatic, but.
Did you think it would make you laugh like Santa?
No, I just thought it would be like, wow, I'm drinking eggnog, but it's kombucha.
Drinking the holidays.
Yeah. Something really oh wow, this really tastes like Christmas. Like a pumpkin pie kombucha.
Oh man, that sounds amazing.
It's not that.
Anything with pumpkin pie sounds amazing to me.
Same.
Yeah, I'm not a big pumpkin pie.
Oh, I'll have yours then. That's great.
Fine. I would rather have bread pudding.
You just eat it up. Then you take the bread pudding. I actually like bread pudding, but I'll take your pumpkin pie.
I don't know why.
Breakfast, wonderful.
Pumpkin pie for lunch. Pumpkin pie for dinner. Late night snack. Then breakfast again. Yeah, I actually had to stop for a couple of years there, I'd use the holidays as an excuse to buy a pumpkin pie like every couple of weeks, and that's not necessarily the best for
Well,
you.
but I mean, if it's during the holidays and you're doing it every couple of weeks, there's only a couple pies.
Well,
and then
okay, yeah, but every couple of weeks I would buy a pie. I didn't tell you how long that pie lasted.
Mm.
The pie did not last across the entire 2 weeks, is what I'm trying to say.
Any last words
no,
for
yeah,
our live
a
streaming
pie.
audience before I stop the cast?
If a pie enters my home in 12 hours, there is no pie. If not fewer hours.
Yeah, so I had to cut that down on my pie. For Thanksgiving, I used I got a small pumpkin pie,
Right.
and I made Eileen eat some.
Are those your final words?
I guess those are my final words. Thanks everybody for hanging out and supporting us, and you guys are the best. And we'll talk to you soon.
Hi everyone. See you tomorrow.
Bye.